What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another edition of the Focus TV. This is season 8, episode 40. We got Raymond Lyons here, Cardell Dudley Jr., I'm Wilson Tarpey Jr. It's another week, which means WNBA regular season continues to wind down. For some teams, you're running out of times. For other teams, you are blazing hot, and you're out here sprinting from 9th to 2nd because you got an MVP candidate powering you the whole way. Also, we'll get into the NFL a little bit. It's cut down day around the league. So I'm filling for Octavian. We'll go through the rosters in the NFC East. And then Cardell got some great things for us, and both take it or leave it and rapid fire. So you imagine we got all the wonderful things that are going on in the W. We're going to have college football jumping into the mix with their nonsense and craziness in the coming weeks because nothing's ever calm over there. Then the NFL, the gift that just keeps on giving. I guess the Cleveland Browns are going to be something where we're just going to keep making stories for the sake of making them for this entire season. That said, Ray with the Mystics, before I hand it off, yet another pregame interview, this time with the great A'ja Wilson. So we're going to put that up for you guys. And when we get back, we're going to hear what Ray has to say about the Mystics' tough week. We told you guys with the last month, they had 2 really tough weeks. And, those weeks lived up to expectation.
Great jump on it.
All right. Hey, this is Raymond Lyons here with the Focus TV, talking to A'ja Wilson. You guys looking for your 10th win in a row. What do you think was the inflection point of the season where things started to turn around for you?
We've had so many. I think the biggest one just had to be I think post All-Star, we just had to really regroup. I think allowing us to go our different ways and kind of put our mindsets together as to who we want to be as a team really helped us. And at the same time, I think it was a perfect time of the season as where we started to gel and mesh. And I think outside noise and people really didn't recognize how long it takes to really get that going because they were so used to us being a certain way for so long. But with the new group, I think we've gelled together at the right time. And now you're seeing it, particularly on the defensive end.
You're talking about gelling and coming together as a team. You guys added Nalissa at the trade deadline, then also Jewel readjusting her role. Just talk about those two things and how they are contributing to you guys' success.
They're true pros. They're true pros at what they do. Particularly Jewel has been in the spotlight on her other former teams, and to come here and kind of come off the bench, I know it was a big shock. But at the same time, I think she really adapted to that role, and I think that's the sign of a true professional. And also with Nalissa coming into a whole new spot and being put on the spot into a starting position on a team that has a core group that's been together for a while, that could kind of shake a lot of different things. But she has been an open book and so professional as to how she approaches the game and our system. So it's been a joy to have both kind of get reacclimated to their true selves and flourish in that spot.
Then for you personally, every time we think we've seen the final form of A'ja Wilson, you level up, noticeably I kind of shoot the 3 ball a little better than passing and playmaking. How do you stay in that constant state of self-evaluation?
I always want to be great. I want to be great at what I do. Every single time I step on the court, I want someone to see something different. I want someone to know that I've been working on something in the off season, and that's what brings me my true joy in the job that I do. I don't want people to say, "Oh, she looks the same," and I want people to keep talking about our team and how we're looking, because we deserve that. We deserve to be in all conversations. So I love showing up to work every single day and bringing people in awe when they watch us play.
Great job, Ray, in that interview. All right, to the Mystics side of things, they dealt with Asia's greatness in one night, then they dealt with another all-time great the following day, and then a really tough back-to-back for a team chasing postseason.
Yeah, they had a tough week leading into the weekend. They played Connecticut Sun last Tuesday at home and fell to them. Then they went up to Connecticut on Thursday and lost that game as well. Then heading to the weekend, we talked about on Mystics Outlook how imperative those Connecticut games would be because they had a tall mountain to climb over the weekend, and that proved to be the case as they faced the Vegas Aces on Saturday, and Asia put on a masterpiece, 36-13, as they beat the Mystics. And then on Sunday, NECA had a career game, and they needed every bit of it as Seattle Storm beat the Mystics 84-82 on a crazy last-second shot from NECA. We were talking after the game about how that thing hit every inch of the rim before it dropped, making sure that no heroics could happen on the Mystic side. But yeah, it was just a tough week overall. Four consecutive losses while they're in the middle of fighting for their playoff lives. And it's just been the same things that's been plaguing them throughout the entire season. Namely the turnovers. Their bench had been outperformed in a couple of those games as well. So they're just going through it right now, to be perfectly honest. There have been some bright spots. We saw Shakira Austin with a career high on Sunday. She scored 30 points, and she looked great. And she was dealing with we saw what NECA was doing, and she did her best to match that. Then having to deal with Dominique Malunga off the bench. Dominique had a great game as well, 17-10. And Shakira, she just tried to do what she could, and the rookies are continuing to hold their weight. Yeah, they're having fantastic seasons, but overall as a team, it's just some things they need to clean up. And like I said, it begins with the turnovers. That once that starts to get out of control in any game, that kind of leads to their demise, because we always talk about that one quarter that fails them. And it's usually caused by inefficient offense and turnovers, which leads to the opposing team running out, getting easy ones, and them getting on the road, and the Mystics having to fight back. So, yeah, they're going to have to address that. We weren't able to see them with Georgia this season, unfortunately, due to injury. So that's something interesting to look at for next year. Hopefully, she will be able to come in and kind of fit in seamlessly. Wilson, you were talking the other day about how they don't need her to have the rookie impact that Sonya and Kiki had. It'd be nice if she did, but she's in a good position where she can just kind of come in and steady the ship and let the other ladies continue to blossom and do their thing. If she comes in and her body's responding and we can see some of what we saw in college, then great. But at this point, they just need some consistency and a sure hand at the point guard spot. I think that will relieve a lot of their issues. Defensively, there are some lapses at times, but really, from my standpoint, the main thing is once those turnovers start compiling and they're not able to set up defensively in the half court, and then their offense just doesn't get the flow, it just messes everything up for them. And they need to manage those rough spots a little better. Because every game you're going to have a stretch where either shots aren't going in or things just aren't going your way. But you just can't let it be catastrophic to the point that the Mystics have allowed. And then they use a ton of energy clawing back in the games, which, to their credit, more often than not, they come back. But when you dig yourself so deep in the hole, it's just hard to overcome that routinely. They're professionals lined up against you. So if you just allow them to get so far ahead and get that much momentum, your chances of digging out of that are very slim, especially when you're putting yourself in that position almost on a game-to-game basis. So, they're mathematically still in it. They got 6 games left. We'll see what happens. They need to take care of business, and they need some help. This last week would have helped them out a lot, but we'll see.
If you guys missed any of those, those recaps Mystics Outlook Live. Just head over to the channel and you can catch them all there, or on our Twitter page. They're literally right there. If you just scroll a little bit, you can check those out there as well. All right, on to the NFL. Again, it was cut down day. So let's get to the fun stuff. I guess we will start with the New York Giants, since they made finding their 53 oh so very easy. Nice big graphic for us all. Couldn't miss it. All right, for them, it's they had to make it clear for folks, because we are in the information age when people do not like receiving information. Players are listed alphabetically. This is not a depth chart, because I'm sure the first thing everybody saw was Jackson Dart at the top of the QB list, and folks were already ready to go nuts. Please relax. But they got their 3 QBs. The young fella, you got Russ, then Jameis, Devin Singletary, Cam Scatterable, Tyrone Tracy. So you got 2 young fellas in Scatterable and Tracy, and Devin Singletary, trying to just make an established name for himself. Tight end, Bellinger, Fedone II, Theo Johnson. Wide receiver, that's interesting. We all know one of those names stands out more than everybody else. We all know who Malik Neighbors is. He made that very clear last year as a rookie. It's wide receiver 1 over in New York. Jalen Hyatt, one of many guys across the league trying to get his feet underneath him. Wan'Dale Robinson, same for him. Darius Slayton's a vet, so that might be the only other trusted person in that room. On the O-line, you see they kept a bunch of folks, which makes sense. Kind of important, especially with O-line play around the league kind of not being up to par. In the DB room, Paulson Adebo, Deontay Bakes, Cordell Flott, Art Jones, Nick Jones, Drew Phillips, Corey Black. Only 3 safeties, which is kind of interesting, but obvious. Also something to keep in mind. Some folks have people on the PUP that physically unable to perform list. So that could be where one of those safeties are, unless that's what they chose to do with their roster. You can keep your 53 however you so choose. Dane Belton, Javon Holland, and Tyler Nubin. Nubin, the young fella from Minnesota, I believe last year. Then your outside linebackers, aka your edges over there, Burns, Carter, and Thibodeau. And then the big fellas up front, everyone knows about Big Dexter Lawrence inside. You got Chauncey Golston in there, Nunes Roaches, and DJ Davidson at linebacker. If you're a United fan, you know who Demetrius Flanagan-Fowles is. Shout out to Bobby Okereke. Covered him back in the day there in high school, receiving an award. But as a former safety at Stanford, making a solid name for himself in the NFL at linebacker. On to the Commanders, where the Terry McLaurin saga came to an end. For anybody who was not aware, he got paid 3 years, 96. The good thing, again, information age, but people are allergic to information. Big number the NFL. You got to wait for the details to come out. Void years is a popular thing that said, I'm sure Washington's happy they got that taken care of. Obviously, Jaden Daniels, Marcus Mariota, and Josh Johnson, 2 super vets behind him. Brian Robinson Jr. in the trade. Essentially, that trade with Washington, it was Deebo Samuel to the Commanders, Brian Robinson to the Niners, and they swapped 5th and 6th round picks. That's essentially what that deal ended up being. So that's Austin Eckler, Jeremy Nichols, Big Bill Krosky Merritt. That's the guy who probably I wouldn't be shocked. I don't play fantasy anymore because I will watch football all day and forget to set my lineups. That said, be familiar with Bill Krosky Merritt. Chris Rodriguez Jr. has been around a little bit. You got Terry McLaurin, who we just mentioned, Noah Brown, Debo, Luke McCaffrey, and rookie Jalen Lane. At tight end, you got Zach Ertz, super vet, and then got some John Bates has been solid too as a vet, and still kind of waiting for Ben Sinnott to kind of find his groove. Then you got Colson Yankoff. Up front, Big Laramie Tunsil, Brandon Coleman, Tyler BDS, Nick Allegretti, Andrew Wiley, Josh Connolly Jr., the young fella they got in this draft out of Oregon. Super vet George Fant. You got Chris Paul and Trent Scott. On the D-line, they only kept 8. Deron Payne, Javon Kinlaw, Deatrice Wise, Dorrance Armstrong, Jacob Martin, Big Johnny Newton, Javonte Jean-Baptiste, and Eddie Goldman, formerly of the Bears. Bears fans know exactly who that is, and came out of Florida State like at least 5 years ago. Linebackers, super duper vet. Big Bobby Wagner, you got Frankie Louvu, Von Miller out here to rush the passer occasionally, Jordan McGee, Nick Bellore, Kane Medrano, and El Cajo, Marshawn Lattimore, Trey Amos, big draft crush of mine. He ended up here, still rooting for him. Mike Sanders still looking to build on a really good rookie year. Jonathan Jones and Noah Ebenigi. And McGeaney, I always mess up his name, Quan Martin, Will Harris, Jeremy Reeves, Percy Butler, and Tyler Owens at safeties. And we all know Tressway, the punter. Matt Gay at kicker, the long snapper. Tyler Ott. On to Rays Cowboys. They kept 2 quarterbacks. All right. I think you guys know who one of them is. Everyone's favorite. Get this one here. Dak Prescott and then Joe Milton. He was with the Patriots last year. Running back, you got some guys with some tread on their tires. Miles Sanders, Javonte Williams, Jaden Blue came out the draft this year. Phil Maffa and Hunter Lupke, which is a fullback. At wide receiver, CeeDee Lamb, George Pickens came over from the Steelers. Then Jalen Tolbert, Ryan Flournoy, and Kevontae Turpin. All guys, we already know CD's kind of established already. With Pickens, just wait for that level of consistency, but that's a big play guy. We'll see what that looks like in Dallas. Luke Schoonmaker, Jake Ferguson, Brent Spanford at tight end. O-line, you got some very familiar faces. Tyler Booker, Cooper Beebe, Tyler Guyton, TJ Bass, Brock Hoffman, Cornelius, Nate Thomas, Tyler Smith, and Terrence Steele. Defensive line, he's on the roster. He's just not playing. One, Micah Parsons at the top of the line. Dante Fowler, Donovan Ezinaku just came out of Boston College this year as a rookie. James Houston, Sam Williams, Big Mozzie Smith, Solomon Thomas, Niner fans, you know him, Jets fans too. Jay Toa, Marshawn Nealand, Osa Adigizwawa, and Imperian Winfrey. At linebacker, we got Damone Clark, Maris Lafu, Shamar James, Jack Sanborn, Kenneth Murray. They also got my young fellow, DeMario Overshone, that got hurt last year. He was getting his feet underneath him. Wish him a speedy recovery. Hope he gets back to them. And then in the defensive, at the back end of their defense, Nia Thomas, Donovan Wilson, Trayvon Diggs, if he can get back healthy, Marquise Bill, Kyer Elam's former first-round pick, still looking to get his feet underneath him. Kalen Carson, Andrew Booth, formerly of the Vikings, Deron Bland, Malik Hooker, drafted by the Colts several years back, and Zion Childress. Last but not least, I'm going to just put this video up because the Eagles always make sure that we have a nice video every year. They're like, we don't want you to read stuff, but that's the case. It's going too fast. Jalen Hurts, Tanner McKee, and Sam Howell, your quarterbacks. Saquon, Will Shipley, A.J. Dillon, your running backs. Fullback, Ben Van Summeren. At wide receiver, we know who the first 2 guys, 1A and 1B, is A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. Former Commander, Jahan Dotson. Former Texan, also former member of the Crimson Tide, John Mechie III. They just got in a trade. And Darius Cooper's an undrafted free agent. Made the team. Shout out to him. At tight end, Dallas Goedert, Grant Calcaterra, and then Colin Granson. Up front, one of the best O-lines in the league. Jordan Mailata, Landon Dickerson, Cam Jurgens, Lane Johnson, Tyler Steen, Matt Pryor, Drew Kendall, Fred Johnson, Cameron Williams, Brett Toth, and Trevor Keegan. Yes, they take the trenches very seriously in Philadelphia. Then the DTs, Jordan Davis, Big Jalen Carter, Moro Ajomo, Gabe Hall, Ty Robinson, Byron Young. Then Edge, Nolan Smith, Jalen Hunt, Azeez Ojulari. He came over from the Giants, and Josh Uche, Obo Okoronkwo, and then Zach Bond, Jeremiah Trotter Jr., Jihad Campbell, Smell Munden, a lot of Alabama and Georgia players here in Philadelphia. Quinyon Mitchell looking to step up a year or two, same for Cooper DeJean. Not a bad rookie years. He won the title, played a role in reshaping the Eagles secondary. Kaylee Ringo, former Georgia Bulldog, trying to find his solid ground. Mac McWilliams, Jacorian Bennett, who they traded for with the Raiders when they swapped defensive tackle. I think we mentioned that. I think we mentioned that within the last 2 shows. Adoree Jackson, former Giant. Andrew Makuba, keep an eye on him, came out of this year's draft. Reed Blankenship, Sidney Brown, and Tristan McCullum. So that is the 53-man rosters for your teams in the NFC East. Ray, I guess I asked you real quick how you feel about your team's 53, and Cardell asked you how you feel about your team's 53 before we move
on. I'm going to say this every time you ask me something about the Cowboys. Doesn't matter as long as Jerry Jones is still there. But no, seriously, I think I don't think there's rarely a year when they're void of talent. They just got to go out there and get it done, and we'll see if they can do that. I'm I honestly don't care. They're going to be 500 or close to it, and flame out in the playoffs. That's just how it goes. It's been that way for almost 30 years, so it's no need to hope for something different until they do something different.
Ray, I'm gonna do you a favor. Try to remember for this time next year. Just replay this clip, so we're just gonna loop it in for you. Cardell, how you feel about your group?
Ray, the Cowboy series on Netflix ain't inspires you, gave you hope?
I actually haven't even watched it yet. I heard it's really good. I'm gonna watch it at some point.
Yeah, it's good, man. It might give you some hope. Like, Jerry, you know what? You've been right all these years, man. These people tripping out here, man. It ain't your fault, Jerry. Yeah, I mean, it's similar to Ray, how he feel. I feel kind of the standard for me from what my Broncos is. You gotta deal with Mahomes. You gotta beat my homeboy. That's the standard. Like, if we could beat him, cool. We struggle against them, then it doesn't matter, because we know at the end at some point in the playoffs, for you to get where you want to go, you're gonna run into them. It's just like that, man. So you know, that's where I'm gonna gauge how good we can be, and you know, we could literally. I mean, it's 17 games now, so we could literally be 15-2. But those 2 losses to the Chiefs, it don't matter, because I know what we're gonna see them, unless something drastic happen with their team where they're just injured, or you know, something crazy happens. You know, they're gonna be there then. He's that great. He's proven it. Gotta give him the respect he deserves. So, but outside of that, yeah, we got a lot of talent, man. You know, excited about what Bo does another year under his belt. Obviously, you know, our defense on point. Expect them to take a leap. You know, it's you got to show up against them. You know, and not just them, the Ravens, the Bills. It's just certain teams where if you see them down the road, they obviously the Chiefs in our division, our conference. So our division. So we're gonna see them all the time. But if you run into them in the playoffs, that's what you gauge by, and that's what I'm looking at. So I'm not gonna get too high, too low, unless we start smacking the Chiefs up and down the field. Then I'm gonna get excited. I'm like, yeah, okay, it warrants excitement.
I think that's a very fair barometer. You can go ahead and put hands on the boogeyman. You're in a great place. Now I'm with you. Like, regardless of whatever happens, guys know where. I know number 6 means going through actually beating that man instead of leaving. We've been to the field twice with him. Walk away heads down twice so far. 0 for 2, so it doesn't beat anything. What only thing I saw the Niners 53 a little bit, like maybe an hour ago. What I was happy about, old school stuff. This is the most players in the trenches on either side of the ball that they've had on their roster during the Shanahan tenure. Sometimes you just got to go back to the basics. Get as many big fellas up front, let the rest take care of itself. But haven't been good since the talent on the D-line started deteriorating, and you get small up front, people start to take advantage of you. And that's what happened last year. Everybody ran through the Niners because they were small. These little kids are bigger. Look forward to it, man. We'll see what happens. But yeah, it doesn't matter, because until you kill them, it just doesn't matter. Dude don't know how to die. We had him at gunpoint several times, 2 different years. He's like the meme where he's like, call an ambulance, but not for me. That's what he did to my team twice.
Man, we shot him 9 times. He came back stronger than ever. Went to the top. Nah, man. You gotta get you gotta visit the hospital and take him out. Like, get the doctors. Don't try to save him. If you value life, get up out of here, man. But he a bad boy. That's without question. And if he keep this up, he got a shot at being the best to ever do it. Sure.
And we've seen before, sometimes like a year that they don't win. It's not like they still haven't gone away yet. Like, they don't know how to just go away. They just won't win and come back and be like, give me my thing back. It's mine. So,
and even with years where the talent around them ain't that bad, ain't that great, still there, then that's how you know he a bad boy.
Yeah. All right. Cardell, we're going to go ahead and move on to take it or leave it. What you got for us this week?
Yeah, man, we're going to stay on the NFL side of things and take it or leave it, obviously. Making headlines. Shedeur Sanders made the roster, made the final 53. Tuesday, Cleveland coach Kevin Stefanski named rookie Dylan Gabriel the team's backup quarterback. Obviously, Joe Flacco is the starting quarterback, and Sanders will be the third string QB. Look, those developments mean rookie. At the four-way competition in training camp, Sanders has the third string job. I know some people kind of still feel like it's politics at play. But we all know when you're the 5th round pick, unless a higher pick in a higher round is just completely west of bed, you're gonna have to wait a little bit, and that's just the case, man. Sanders obviously had his ups and downs in training camp throughout the preseason, but he showed enough to make the roster, man. So it's obviously some potential there. And we're gonna see, how it goes. But obviously, do you take it or leave it? Sanders being the third string quarterback as of right now. Ray, we're gonna start with you.
Yeah, like you said, I don't think he thoroughly outplayed Gabriel to the point where this should be seen as a travesty, to be perfectly honest. And if it was flipped the other way, I wouldn't have anything to say either. But yeah, like you said, he's there. He has the opportunity. You never know. You never know what can happen. He can play his way up the depth chart. We all, we're not hoping for it, but people can get hurt. The situation come up where he's put into a spot where he can just go ahead and prove it on the field. And should that happen, hopefully he's ready to take advantage of it. So I think at this point, we can kill the conspiracy theories and all that. What happened. Nobody really knows the truth, although we can safely assume what was at play. But we're here now. He's on the roster. Eventually, he's going to make his way onto the field, and what he does with that is what we'll be able to judge him on. So I think let's just let football happen now. That moment is come and gone. The season's approaching. Let's just let him do his job at this point. Because to be perfectly honest, all that outside noise probably what got him in the first place. So yeah, let's just let him be a professional athlete.
Wilson.
Yeah, I'm gonna take it. I think it's great. He had an opportunity in that last preseason game. It didn't go well. Like, I don't think that shouldn't be hard for anybody to say. I know people are looking for all different types of reasons. Played good in the first outing, not so good in the second outing. That usually average. Dylan Gabriel played a little bit better in his second outing. The first one, but he didn't have a bad outing. I know he had that pick 6 in that first game. All right, cool. That said, also he was drafted ahead of you. Also, if I was him, embrace this, sit there, learn, get familiar with this system, get everything down, get your stuff together in the background, and your time will come. Just be ready for it. Like Joe, it's not like Joe Flacco's about to play another 10 years in the league right now for the Browns. Like, just being honest, right? And the debacle that was Deshaun Watson, the Browns are almost stumbled, bumbled, and fumbled their way through the length of that contract almost. That's almost over. Stay the course, get your stuff together, and be ready. That's it. But I'll take it. I don't think anything's wrong with that. To me, it feels like I'd rather be him than be Dylan Gabriel. Because if whichever one of them was 2, if you mess up, you might not get back in. If the one that's third gets in and does right, that might be the end for you. So we'll see how it goes. But yeah, I'm definitely taking it.
How would you gauge I know they haven't played against. How would you gauge the quality of the Browns' offensive line? Like, if you had a grade on, what would you give them?
Like, just as a whole?
Just their offensive line.
I think their ones are good, and I think the depth behind is like most teams in the league. It's like not even a full handful of teams that have really good depth at every position on O-line. Like O-line around the league's horrible, but their starting group I think is solid.
So their starting group was C.
I think their starting group might be like a B.
Okay, B. Okay. All right. So it's quality. I know Flacco's a little bit older, but it's football. I'm not wishing it for him. Obviously, I'll never do that with an athlete. But it's highly probable where he will not play the entire season. So Sanders will possibly get a chance. In the meantime, just put the work in and be ready, man. That's the name of the game with the pros, man. I think people get social media and all that stuff confused with reality. Social media ain't real. In the pros, you either do the job or we're going to find somebody who can, because if we don't, I'm out of a job. And I ain't about to be out of a job for you. Because you can't get right. That's just how I go. And I'm not saying Sanders is that, but I feel like it's an accomplishment. He made a 53-man roster because it was a lot stacked up against him to get him cut. You know what I'm saying? That's why he fell so low, man, with a lot of factors that played in that, which we touched on before, man. But he's handled it right. He's been humble. He just by all just the players love him, the team love him. Just keep working. That's the name of the game, man. I'm fully confident he will get an opportunity to show what he can do, and you got to do something. You got to do something, because if you don't show up, it is what it is. We already know. Now you give them the ammo to be like, yeah, we ain't got it, and they go on. Especially if the Browns don't have a good year, which is likely. They're gonna be in the draft looking for another QB to come and take your spot. You know what I mean? So, all the uproar and all that, yeah, it's cute on social media and whatever, man. But it's the big boy league. You got to perform like a big boy. And if not, you ain't gonna last too long, man. But I'm rooting for him. Hopefully, get an opportunity, man, and see what they can do, man. But obviously, going into it, we knew Flacco was probably gonna be a starter unless he got hurt or something like that. Too much experience, too much accomplishments and stuff like that, man. Especially with whoever the other guys he had to compete with. So we're gonna see how it goes. We're gonna move on to the WNBA. Angel Reese is officially on top of the WNBA history books after she tallied her 46th career double-double in just her second season in the league. The Sky Star now holds the record for logging the most double-doubles in her first two seasons after her performance on Monday night. Reese surpassed Tina Charles' record from the 2010-2011 season, in which Charles notched 45 double-doubles with the Sun in 2 seasons. The Sky Star made history on Monday night after scoring 10 points and only 17 rebounds for a double-double. She also added 4 assists, 3 steals, and 1 block when Chicago's 79-74 loss to the Aces. It was Reese's 20th double-double of the 2025 season. Throughout Reese's 2 WNBA seasons so far, she's achieved 2 impressive double-double streaks. During her rookie campaign, she made history by logging 15 straight double-double performances. The previous record was held by Candace Parker at 12 consecutive games. This season, Reese held a 10 consecutive game streak of posting double-doubles. Has Angel silenced her critics? Wilson, start with you.
Yeah, I don't know about the critics part of it, but the double-double thing, achieving that is huge. And the only reason, I guess, with the critics for me is people are so dug in. It's like separate little cults.
Logical critics, not them.
Okay, cool. My bad. All right. Sorry. Just that's the first thing that came to mind. It's like every time you open the app, it's like, well, y'all please shut up. Please. Like your deity's not even playing tonight. Stop. Take a night off. If he took a night off, you take a night off. But for logical folks, yeah, I think so. Like, I don't think anybody, I think I can speak for all of us. I don't think any of us are surprised about her ability to rebound in basketball. It's her elite trait. Like, that's what makes her special. That's the thing, right? And, in sports, as cliche it is, just like, if you have to think you do well, be elite at it. Yep. She rebounds the ball at a crazy level. I think the questions for everyone was just rounding out the offense and getting to a place where it's efficient and cool. I think that's still in development, and that's great. But the double-doubles is nuts. As soon as you start, like, Tina's still playing one. As soon as you start passing some of these these names on lists, you're accomplishing something. Like, that's huge. And I can't even fathom what it's going to be as she gets into the prime of her career, what those double streaks and things of that nature look like. Like, 46 is nuts already. Like, this is year 2, right? And you just eclipse Tina Charles in something ridiculous. Yeah, man. And I think that's the thing almost every night. I think you can almost pencil her in for like 12 boards, not 10, but like it's somewhere between 12 and 17, which means we already know she's getting 10. It speaks to the motor. And again, that's the thing I feel like everyone with some sense knew was going to translate as soon as she got here. I think it squatted down the critics a little bit. But, you know, again, it's year 2. I look forward to seeing where her game continues to evolve to year 3 and so forth. But as a hell of an accomplishment.
Right.
Yeah, I think any sensible person at this point can just be like, all right, yeah, with what she's doing, it speaks for itself. Still some room for a game to grow in other areas, like Wilson said, but that's damn near every player. And she's only in her 2nd year. So with that stuff, just be patient and see if she's going to put the work in, which with what we know about Angel, I don't think that's a doubt. It just be able to see if she can, if that stuff will translate. But yeah, she just killing. Like, to be perfectly honest, she missed a few games due to injury, but she came back, picked up where she left off. You know, I think it's super impressive. Like, when your biggest advantages are physical, that's my main thing. Like, if your advantages in college is you're bigger, more athletic, and stronger than everybody else, college and the W, 2 way different things. So if that can translate, then you good, because the skill stuff you can work on. So if that ever catches up, it's going to get nasty.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I'm waiting to see. And offensively, she can pass. We know that. It's just that those other little skills, get more consistent finishing around the rim, developing her game where she's effective, maybe out to the mid range area, about 15 feet. If that stuff starts to come, then and her and Camilla get an effective high-low thing going on, it's going to be a problem. So her potential, the sky's the limit. If her offense and her skills ever catch up to her defensive instincts and her athleticism, yeah, those record books going to be destroyed. So I mean, and it's cool just to see her continue to blossom and continue to perform well. So yeah, I'm excited to see what she can become.
Yeah, you know, I'm with y'all. For her to have that many double doubles already is just, you know, it's crazy, because Tina actually has the most in WNBA history for a career, and she just got her 200th double double, I think, Sunday, last time they played. So she already has 46 in 2 seasons. I forget how many years Tina has played. So she pretty much got a quarter of that already in 2 years. So she keeps up at the rate she's on, she gonna walk that down. She gonna walk that down by her prime, you know, like, you know what I mean? And she gonna knock that thing way out there. Like, she gonna make the double-double record, like we look at John Stockton's assist record, or AC Green consecutive games played record, you know, type stuff. Like, no one's touching that, man. And it make it more amazing she's doing it with Cardoso at the 5. You know what I mean? Like, another beast who's bigger than her in the paint as well, who can easily get those boards, man. So, but she just got a will and a motor that very few can match. I read the other day, it's similar to Robin's. You know how Robin motor just overwhelms, it don't turn off, and that's something special with her. This season, she actually playing like how I saw her in high school, like with the ball in her hands, and I think that's unlocked her confidence offensively a little bit more. Yes, she has a way to go to be more efficient, but like she's a threat. Like you have to guard her. You know what I mean? And the cold part is even when she does pass, most times when you make the pass, what do players do? Get lax and watch the ball. You can't do that with her. You gotta you gotta stay locked in on her because she's gonna go right around you. And if that player misses, she getting that rebound going back up. So she messes up the game for opponents in different ways that's unconventional. And you know, you kind of have to be a basketball person to appreciate it, man. And let's keep it a bean. We do it on here. The reason why she's having a lot more success for her all-around game this year. Not saying she ain't make an impact a rookie year, but she's played a better all-around game this year, keeping the main thing. Less distractions in the gym more and all that. And also with her improvement individually, you know, I know she's used to winning. So I know the next level for her mentally is like, yo, we got to get some wins up in here so we can be in the playoffs. And you know, I can get it done on that stage, man. So, you know, I like where she's headed. She just got to stick with it. And yeah, man, she doing her thing. Like, I hate to say it, but I understand why they did it. But the drafting of Aaliyah over her, and then, you know, it's more her. Like, yeah, you could say that's right now that's a mistake. You know what I mean? So, you know, she's on a high trajectory, man, no doubt. She just gotta keep it going. All right, Stan will take it or leave it. Malik Beasley, man. Man, this has been one hell of a summer for him. He is no longer a target of a FBI investigation into gambling on NBA games. His attorney said the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Eastern District of New York is conducting a broad investigation. Beasley attorneys Steve Haney and Mike Schachter told multiple outlets that Beasley is no longer a target of the investigation. U.S. Attorney's Office has not confirmed that, although it's not their policy to talk about who is or is not under investigation. Beasley has been tied to the investigation, which means he is not the primary focus of the investigation, but still part of it and could be charged with the crime, with reports that the feds were specifically looking at a series of 2024 games where Beasley was with the Milwaukee Bucks. In one of those games, he reportedly flagged by at least one sportsbook. The prop bet of Beasley under 2.5 rebounds changed from plus 120 to negative 250 after large bets were placed. Beasley had 6 rebounds in the game. Here's what attorney Hanley told Sham Sharon at ESPN, quote, months after this investigation commenced, Malik remains uncharged and is not the target of this investigation. An allegation with no charge, indictment, or conviction should never have catastrophic consequences. This has caused Malik. This has literally been the opposite of the presumption of innocence. Beasley and the Pistons were reportedly in discussions about his resigning in Detroit for around 3 years, $42 million. The news and investigation went public. After that, any free agent talks around Beasley dried up. Ray, man, many parts to this. One, do you take it or leave it that the NBPA and the NBA should do Beasley a solid and make sure he get what was offered? And 2, would you as a team still offer him that contract now that he's been cleared?
So now that he's been cleared, I think they should try to salvage some of what's been lost. But if I'm a team and I take him into my organization, we're going to have a serious conversation. Stay away from this stuff.
You can't gamble at all, bro. I don't even want to see you in the card game on the plane.
Yeah, man. Just steer clear, because double jeopardy don't exist. If you get caught up again, believe they're gonna throw the book at you. So just keep your nose clean, man. And it sucks that things are unfolded the way they did, because he's coming off a hell of a year, and his free agency was basically destroyed by this.
Yeah.
And it's good that he came out on the other end, but if he did it or what have you, that's not for me to care about. But why would you even put yourself in that position? So yeah, I don't think he should be continuously punished. But yeah, if I'm an owner or what have you, and I'm going to throw him that lifeline, yeah, we definitely gonna have that talk. And I don't know if this is possible to put some language in his contract or something, but whatever safeguards we need to put up to keep him on the straight and narrow and just make sure nothing like this can be attached to him at all, that's what we're gonna do.
Wilson.
Yeah, it's tough, but like Ray said, it's one of those things where y'all knew that betting was gonna, became part of your professional lives. And I get that you're not the main target, but if you're close enough to be swept up in any investigation, what are you doing? Like this what are you doing? Like being investigation adjacent doesn't, like, I'm happy you're not the primary target. That's it. You still lost out on 3 years, 42. We've been on here talking on a regular basis with the aprons been hit, like you're not getting that back. You're not. And it's just a reference. I think his salary last year was $6 million. So 3 years, 42. You lost about $8 million a year because of this, just being involved, tied to it. Regardless, you lost about $8 million a year. Look, man, yeah. If I were him, I would hope the Players Association can do something. That said, I wouldn't hold my breath. Like what sucks is you're gonna have to go out probably for less than $6 million this year and have another career year and keep your nose clean. Again, I get you're not the main focus of investigation, what have you. This, you can't be tied to anything like this the rest of the way. Otherwise, again, if your teams, they'll just use that against you, make sure they don't have to pay you full price the rest of the way. Like this was supposed to be a great payday for you, possibly your last big payday. We've seen what we've been talking about with the apron house affected players kind of like in that middle class. Bro, this is a monumental fumble. Just being tied up in this, you lost 3 years, 42 from the Pistons, right? Also, the Pistons kind of just kept it moving. And even if the Pistons still want you, there's no reason to give you 3 years, 42. There's no incentive for them to do that. I'm just leaving it just because I don't understand how these dudes are any like remotely involved. Like, if you're remotely around it, it can affect you. Right. Like we seen the other end of the spectrum is Michael Porter Jr. brother. Like John said, that's the other end of the spectrum. Just being named in it has you here. Look at Terry Rozier. Like his name's just tarnished, being tied to it. It's detrimental to your career, man. Like, hopefully the Players Association can do something, but they've been kind of getting their butt kicked in other negotiations with the league with stuff. I don't have too much faith.
Shoot, the Feds been getting their butt kicked too, man. It's been weird times, man. There's some weird times, but yeah, I hope they can try to salvage something for him, because if you're gonna go after him and really just drag his name through the mud and cost him so much money, they was digging up personal stuff about he lost apartments and stuff. Like, man, if you're gonna do all that, make it right, and then be wrong, you gotta make it right. You got to. And if I'm him, I would just honestly probably, if they want me back, go with Detroit. The coach want like him. You're familiar. You had a great run. You're a big part of that team, and you know your role. So it's easier for you to just hit the ground running and try to recoup that. I'll probably sign like a small deal, so I won't be just stuck, and try to ball out so I can try to recoup as much of what I lost as possible, man. But I don't know what's out there on the table for him or whatnot. I mean, I can imagine, man, he's just trying to get his bearings together, man. You know what I mean? Having the Feds on you is one thing. That's no joke in itself, man. But then having the league, like, yeah, dog, we about to finish you, because if they would have found out if he was found guilty for betting on games, they would have finished him. Because that's just too bad for business. You can't have that like Porter's brother. You know what I mean? Like, you got to go. You know what I mean? That type of thing. We're gonna make an example out of you, so no other player will think it's sweet bet on games. Because once you compromise the integrity of the game, it's bad for business. It's bad for everything. If, you know, I was fans go, I was rigged. We don't want to do this. So we all know what that leads to, man. So, but he wasn't. So I just feel like in this situation, you're gonna do him a solid. And help him recoup the money that he lost, man. And, you know, just keep moving forward and have him just go ball. Detroit had a beautiful run last year. They only gonna get better. They sharper. They had the playoff experience. Hell, I mean, outside of the Pacers, who pushed the Knicks more? You know what I mean? And Pacers made it to the finals, so. They right there. You know, they're a tough team. They just stay healthy and all that. And he was a big part of that, man. So, you know, we're gonna see how it goes. We're going to rapid fire now. Staying with the NBA, Cleveland Cavaliers shooting guard Max Strus underwent surgery to repair a Jones fracture in his left foot that he sustained during the offseason workout recently. He will miss 3 to 4 months as he recovers from the repair. Strus is a 6-year veteran. You know, he's heading into his 3rd season with the Cavs. That season, played in 50 games, averaging 9.4 points. 4.3 rebounds, 3.2 assists on 44.2% from the floor, and 38.6% shooting from 3. Cleveland is once again expected to be on the top teams in the East this season, but Strus is missing significant time to start the year. Certainly isn't ideal as the Cavs look to turn their regular season success into postseason success. Wilson, man, how bad of a blow is this for the Cavs?
I think this is one of those things where maybe the average person doesn't think too much of it because it's Max Strus. You lose a ton of space by him being gone. I think it's one thing. You know, everyone wants to have. You know, everybody talks about spacing and how much it matters. This is one of the guys where he kind of fits the bill and consistently does his job. We've seen him have big games for the Cavs. Hit big shots and moments for the Cavs in the last 2 seasons. Yeah, man, I think that's going to hurt a little bit. I don't think any team can just afford – I don't think any team in today's league can just afford to lose dependable three-point shooters when you have that many people that are the opposite of dependable three-point shooters. I think that's going to hurt quite a bit. I know they probably can't wait to get him back. 38.6 from 3. Like, his shot diet is mostly threes. So if if the volume of your shot diet is mostly threes, you shooting 38, like that means that much more to me. Because again, that's all we're asking you to do to a large degree, right? You're a very good shooter. You're in that gap above good. That means in plays, you know, when swings, you're the guy when it gets swung to you. Your team is expecting you to knock that down. It's not just a random swing. They're counting on you to do that. That's gonna hurt a little bit. They're gonna feel his absence a little bit for sure.
Right.
Yeah, I completely agree. That's gonna hurt, and it sucks because going into the season with everything else that's happened health wise around the East, that thing is wide open, and then they lose a key piece approaching the season. And it's probably gonna affect them coming out the gate, which is gonna be tough. Then when he comes back, they're gonna have to reintegrate him and have him ramp up. So yeah, man, it's just a tough break. So they're gonna have to come in and really be focused and try to find some way to make up for what they're losing for the time he's gonna be out. And being perfectly honest, it's time for the iteration of this Cleveland team to take a leap. They've been there the last few years and kind of had disappointing outcomes to their season. That regular season success has got to translate at some point, or things might get shaken up. So yeah, it's just tough for them. You know, hopefully he can have a full recovery and come back and get right back to what he was doing, and they can be in a good spot heading into the postseason. But yeah, that's tough for them, especially with pretty much everything being kind of wide open.
Yeah, I'm looking at it. I had to check the stats. He was third on the Cavs last year in 3-point attempts behind Donovan Mitchell, who took just under 9, and Darius Garland, who took just above 7. He attempted 5.9, just under 6, and he shot 38.6%. You know, it's like what Wilson said, man. He's one of their top shooters to spread the floor for them, especially for those Twin Towers. Open things up for them, man. And he's a pesky defender too. You know, he's an irritant on that end. And he's super tough. Luckily for them, you know, it's the beginning of the season. He might miss the first quarter, you know what I'm saying? But you know, he'll eventually be back, man. But, you know, he got to get over the mental hurdle, obviously, with his foot. That's tough. You know, you can't play basketball without your foot being right, though. That's impossible. So, but yeah, it hurts. You know, that definitely hurts, man. It's just, but it's like what Ray said. They better show some momentum. They better show something quick, especially in this tax apron NBA that we are in. Patience is low. Deliver now, or you got to go. So, you know, it's definitely a sense of urgency, man. So, you'll see what they do with him, man. But praise up to him for a quick recovery, and you know, hopefully, you know, see him back on the court doing what he does fairly quickly. Last question before we get out of here. Good old WNBA. Over a month after the WNBA and WNBA Players Association left their meeting at the 25 All-Star Game in late July with a wide negotiation gap for a new CBA to be ratified, it has now reportedly become increasingly unlikely that both sides can find common ground by the October 31st deadline. Given the historic viewership and revenue spike in 24-25 as a result of the league's blossoming superstars such as Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, Paige Beckers, and soon arrive USC sensation Juju Watkins, the WNBA has positioned itself for unparalleled success in the future. That includes 3 new expansion franchises that are set to begin play by 2030, bringing the league's total to 18 teams. While the owners of the 15 WNBA teams have been enjoying newfound profits, the players are seeking to renegotiate their share of the pie by requesting higher salaries, improved benefits, a revised revenue sharing system, and a more adaptable salary cap. Although the Players Association is well within its rights to ask for such benefits and modifications, the WNBA risks damaging its brand and stalling the momentum it's created with its fans if it heads to a lockout. Quote, the players are working diligently to achieve a transformational CBA that builds on the growth, momentum, and positive news surrounding women's sports and the WNBA Executive Director Terry Carmichael Jackson said in a statement to Front Office Sports, as we approach the 60-day mark, the league's lack of urgency leaves players wondering if it is focused on making this work or just running out the clock. Fans do not want that. They are with the players and demanding a new standard for the W. If a new agreement cannot be reached by October 31st, a brief extension of the current CBA will need to be agreed upon by both parties in order to prevent a lockout and to allow the sides to continue negotiating. If a new CBA cannot be provided by October 31st or shortly after, the 29-year-old Women's Basketball League will endure its first work stoppage in its history and deliver a potentially disastrous punch to the league's financial future and stability. Fellas, thoughts on the state of what it is with the CBA, man?
Yeah, I'm not going to tell them what to do. If they want to fight for certain things, they're well within their rights. But just buckle up. I hope it doesn't get to the point of a work stoppage, but if they feel like they're not being offered something respectable, then they don't have to take it. I think, you know, we kind of talked about this at length not too long ago. But yet, I think you're gonna have to give some ground somewhere. You're not gonna rectify every single thing in this go round. Just hone in on what, or maybe your top 2 or 3 concerns, and see if you can and make as much headway as you can in that area. And then as things go on, continue to have those conversations to address the other things. But yeah, it would suck to to have this momentum stall, because I'm enjoying it. I think the league's in a great place right now, and it's only going to get better. We just saw 2 tremendous draft classes, and the next 2 are going to be tremendous. So we gotta. I just hope they're in a place where they can take advantage of this and still be expanding over that time as well. So it'll suck if things kind of go the way it looks like they're gonna go. I'm trying to be cautiously optimistic, but the more conversation comes out about this, it just seems the 2 sides are on drastically different ends of the spectrum. So hopefully they work something out, man, because the growth has been great. The Encore product, as always, has been fantastic. So I just want to see them be able to continue this without any roadblocks or disruptions.
Wilson.
Yeah, much like Ray said, neither side, regardless of where they stand, you can't afford a work stoppage. I think that's what I don't think anyone should be hard pressed to say that or agree to that. That you just can't afford it. You're out here, you're talking about 3 new teams joining. Can't have a work stoppage right now. That just can't happen. For the current players, I know there's a lot of things that you want to get done. I know I've said this several times on here when we get into this discussion. You're not going to be able to check every box in this negotiation. Just being perfectly honest. The leagues, we're just approaching 30 years old, right? So, or this is year 30, what have you. You're not 50 years old yet. The goal is, I think, in my mind, I would hope that you cover some important ground here, take some huge steps. But I think I don't think you're going to gain ground, like significant ground on the revenue sharing until it's your pot. And I think that's the part that's not really going to change dramatically until that happens. But again, the momentum, you can't lose this momentum. You really can't. We saw this year, the numbers kept growing. And again, what I'm about to say, it's not being petty. I'm not getting into some discourse online, but, Caitlin didn't play a lot this year. The eyes are still up, right? The momentum still going up. So, and that's coming off a really well-watched Final Four. Not Final Four, but NCAA tournament. Right. Like this year has been one step after another. They just keep upping it. A great regular season, quality tournament. This rookie class has been amazing. Like there's just reason after reason as to why you cannot stop this level of momentum. Clearly you felt it enough to continue to expand. You can't afford it. Not only that, your first expansion team is in the playoff hunt. Like to top all that off, you're even getting the expansion part of it right. That's not supposed to work. The expansion team is supposed to come in and get beat on until they get quality players. That's how it normally happens for professional sports. Instead, they come in and they're in the running, and they've been in the running. Like maybe the second week of the season, like they lost and then got comfortable and then brought in that crazy defense and they've been on one. Yeah, man, you just can't lose momentum. But I truly believe for the players, get what you can get out of this, get the things that, prioritize. You're not going to get everything in this negotiation. It's just not possible.
Yeah, man. For me, I like putting myself in both sides, both people's shoes, man. And you got to do that to find a common ground. You can't be so gung-ho on what my benefits are that you're not being realistic with what it is. The reality is the WNBA has never been profitable. And I'm not one of these people that just like, man, they don't make no money, so the players don't deserve to get paid. They deserve to get paid a lot more than they're getting paid. They deserve. I've always said women need more resources for women's stuff. I'm not going to get into detail about that than the fellas do. Yes, practice facilities, all the stuff a professional athlete need so they can be able to do their job to the best of their ability. It should be awarded. Food, all that. Make it where they only going home, honestly, to deal with their family and go to sleep. Outside of that, they got everything they need at the facility. That's how you get a better team and better players. But the reality is that's just not the case for a lot of teams. And, you know, it's like what Wilson said, one, you're not your own entity making your own money. I read somewhere, I'm not quite sure if it's right, but I read somewhere that the NBA subsidizes the WNBA 60% of their profit. That's huge. So imagine what's going on the NBA side of things with the tax aprons. That's the owners cracking down on these crazy contracts outside of the elite of the elite. The guys that are role players or fringe guys, they're losing money. From their contracts are far less than what it's been over the last few years before this new CBA kicked in. So that tells you the state of mind of what the owners are on. Like, they penny pinching. My thing is this: how are you going to demand something when you don't? When there's nothing to demand it from? Like the money's not there. It's like me asking y'all for $5. Like, dog, where I'm gonna get it from? Like, I don't have money. I don't have it. Like, you know what I mean? But I'm asking for it. Well, I ain't gonna do it till you get it. Well, we just gonna be sitting here then, because I don't like. And then if that report is true, where they would have quadrupled their salaries and stuff, that's why I was looking like. To me, that might be the best you can do for right now. I understand the percentage from the BRI is like 9%, whatever it was, single digits. Yes, that's insane. But basketball-related income, how much money do y'all make? Y'all don't. It said it's a report out there that said the WNBA lost $50 million last year, which is the highest it's ever lost in the season. Normally it's around $10 million. But with the league giving them charter flights and all extra stuff, the deficit reached $50 million. The owners not. We know how the owners move when they. we already know how they move, man. You know, and the fact the last time the owners were quiet on situations like this, you get the tax apron stuff. So I'm like, yeah, man. I want the ladies to win. I want them to get their stuff, but you're not gonna be able to get everything. And I think that's just the reality of the situation. And more importantly, I think the top tier stars in the league, they're always going to be fine. But what about the role players? What about the fringe players, the rookies and stuff? What about them? And see, that's where, you know, those are the players that's going to crack and be like, man, we need to get this done. They're going to put pressure on the union, and the owners know that. You know what I mean? So, and then the thing why I'm afraid of is they're going to piss the owners off, and they're going to take that quadruple salary off the table. Nah, we ain't even doing that no more since y'all want to play games. Hey, we'll double it. That's all y'all gonna get. Now they ain't down. Now the million on for the elite players, $1 million contracts is off the table. We've seen it happen time and time again, especially on football side of things. So it's like, why play this game? I get you got to fight for certain things, but name one pro sports team when the CBA came up where the players got everything they wanted. At least in our lifetime. I don't know, maybe prior, but I've never seen it happen in any professional sports league. Never. And those professional sports leagues were making money. So how are you going to be in a professional sports league that's losing millions and think you're going to get everything? That's just not being realistic. And that's been my whole point the whole time. So hopefully they can come to an agreement, because I like the trajectory. I like the growth of everything. But if it is a work stoppage, it impacts more people than just the players. Staff not getting paid, like, and I'm not just talking about the coaching staff. I'm talking about support staff, the economy, when arenas workers and stuff like that. Now I don't have a job because y'all ain't got no season. I don't gotta. What am I gonna do? Unless a concert comes through and stuff, it impacts a lot more than what people realize, man. So hope more logical heads prevail, and you know, they come to an agreement.
Yeah, just my last little 2 cents to keep in mind. All right, it's gonna be year 30, what have you. It's still a young league, and the way you started, again, the pot was muddy. Hey, man, continue moving your way to independence. And when the pot is independent, like you said, you're making money consistently, then you can demand. But right now, you're just not in a position to. And for the league, you got. I remember, was it with the Valkyrie? Once they announced Valkyrie, then they, like, the season tickets fly off the shelves in like -2 seconds, something like that. It was crazy when it happened. Like, think about what that does for the other expansion teams. Like already, like that's momentum loss. Just can't afford it. That said, we appreciate you guys as always. Get over to our Roku channel. If you got a Roku television or device, all you got to do is type in Focus TV in the search box, double tap OK to add the channel. We'll see you guys same time, same place next week. Y'all have a great one.